How am I supposed to compete with a hedge fund out of Texas on buying a home? It makes you feel insane because it's like there's a conspiracy against me at this point.
If you're looking for a place to live right now, you face a radically different housing market than people did even just 15 years ago. Home prices have gone up, rents have gone up, evictions have increased, and a whole group of would-be home buyers has been priced out of homeownership, becoming permanent renters.
People want to own the American dream. They don't want to rent the American dream.
They've been replaced by an industry that treats our communities and neighborhoods like a day trader treats stocks, just something to buy and sell to maximize return.
It's been catastrophic.
Really just a few firms have been able to target and corner the market here. Their business model is built on exploitation and on having a very uneven playing field tilted in their favor.
So who exactly is behind this? We went to the cities at the center of this crisis to understand how single-family homes became big business.
Yo nunca he hablado con los dueños, solamente con las personas que trabajan para el dueño.
For the last 7 years, Sandra de los Santos has rented this house in Charlotte, North Carolina. Now she's packing up. In a few weeks, she and her family have to leave.
Yo le dije a la compañía que hace 2 años la casa se venía llenando de moho, pero ellos nunca me habían hecho caso.
From the beginning, Sandra's had problems with the rental. Every time it rained, water flooded into the house. Then came the mold.
Mi esposo tuvo que cambiar esa pared para que no nos afectara, porque mis hijos prácticamente ellos cada mes estaban enfermando. Eran desvelos de mis hijos, no íbamos a trabajar por hacer todo eso y ellos no nos han compensado con ni $1. Nunca, al contrario, nos suben la renta.
It's been years and she's been asking for repairs.
Jessica Moreno is a housing organizer who's helping Sandra.
They got their rent raised every year. They do what they can to make sure the rent is paid every single month. And then on top of that, they still have to fix the home.
When she looked into Sandra's landlord, she found it's a Texas-based private equity firm that's among the largest owners of single-family homes in the country.
She rents from a corporate landlord called Amherst. Just in Charlotte, Amherst owns 1,583 homes. When you think of landlords, you think of someone that has maybe 2 houses, right? That's not what we're dealing with. We're dealing with, backed by Wall Street, corporations that own thousands of homes.
Sandra says she spent $25,000 repairing the house, and Amherst hasn't paid her back for any of it.
They actually have an office here in Charlotte, which we went to, and it's 2 suites that are filled with boxes. No one's there.
After Sandra protested publicly, the company finally contacted her and sent an inspector to the house. Then they offered her $2,000 to leave.
It's a slap in the face. Of course, she said no. She wasn't going to take that. Then they said that she would have to leave at the end of her lease. She was forced out of her community. And a lot of people are under that situation.
This is a problem that didn't exist 10 or 15 years ago.
Taylor Shelton is a geographer who maps the ownership of single-family homes.
Prior to the 2008 foreclosure crisis, large corporations were really not involved in the single-family rental market at all.
After the 2008 crash, Wall Street saw an opportunity in millions of foreclosed homes, especially in the Sun Belt cities hardest hit.
What the foreclosure crisis presented was a mass of available inventory for extremely cheap.
So when property values skyrocketed over the next decade, the proceeds went to Wall Street, not to the people who now rented the homes. The result has been a housing recovery without a homeowner recovery. By 2022, large investors were buying more than 1 in every 4 single-family homes sold in the US.
The absolute largest companies really there are 2. The first is Invitation Homes, which is a publicly traded real estate investment trust. The next biggest actor is Progress Residential, which is owned by a private equity firm, Pretium Partners, based in New York City on Wall Street. After those 2 biggest companies, there's really 4 more. Amherst Holdings, based in Texas, First Key Homes, owned by Cerberus Capital Management, American Homes for Rent, now known as AMH, and then Tricon American Homes. There's really three things that these landlords are able to do. The first is these landlords raise rent and fees at much faster rates than any other type of landlord. The second thing is that eviction is a really core part of their business model. Institutional investors are way more likely to file for eviction, not as a kind of last resort, but actually at the very first moment they're able to. And then the third thing is that we know these companies are actually producing worse outcomes in terms of building maintenance. So they are in effect providing a worse product for higher prices.
In Atlanta, Wall Street landlords now own more than a quarter of single-family homes. I met up with Robbie Caban, an Atlanta broker who's been working in real estate for over a decade.
What I've seen is that my clientele, that buying pool of first-time homeowners or elderly who are downsizing, with limited income, like veterans and so on, they're no longer able to purchase. They have just been wiped out because they cannot compete with the other buyers in the market.
Tell me more about the corporate buyers. What influence have you seen them have on the market here?
It's been catastrophic. Truly, the pool of homes available has been so diminished that in essence, normal people who have just general lending on limited funds are priced out and they're forced into rentals. And because those same companies control the rentals, there are very little options. When a cash buyer can come in, like the corporate buyers, and buy within 5 days, no appraisal, virtually no inspection, as is, how can a person who needs 30 days or more, needs an inspection, needs a due diligence period, needs an appraisal for the bank, it's required, compete with that? They can't.
According to one study, the shift from owning to renting has resulted in over $1 billion of lost equity for renters over the last 10 years. And that's just in Atlanta.
I paid $24,000 last year for a place that I have nothing to show for.
Austin Hunter is a cabinet maker whose last 3 landlords have been different investment firms, most recently First Key Homes. In the last 6 years, Austin's rent has doubled. Long term, he thinks it might make more sense just to live in his van.
How am I supposed to compete with a hedge fund from Texas that's trying to buy a house when any house that I could ostensibly afford, they're coming in with cash? It really feels like I'm pushing a boulder up the hill and continually getting bludgeoned by the boulder coming back down on me.
Corporate owners of single-family homes argue that they don't contribute to the housing crisis, pointing to the fact that nationally, they own less than 10% of the market. But if you're looking for a place to live, the market you care about isn't national. It's one neighborhood versus another. And in some cities, these firms are building local monopolies.
The way these companies' business practices have evolved is essentially to avoid competing with one another through this geographic targeting. Invitation Homes tends to purchase in, on average, wealthier and whiter communities. Progress and Main Street Renewal tend to focus on somewhat poor, predominantly black neighborhoods. In some neighborhoods, it's upwards of 50 or even 75% of all single-family rentals are owned by these large Wall Street investors. That element of market power is really significant in the way these companies operate, really meaning that if you want to live in a given neighborhood, you're forced into working with a single landlord.
Today, my administration is sending a very clear message to the corporate landlords.
In July, the Biden-Harris administration announced a new plan to slow rent increases.
We are going to cap rent increases at no more than 5% a year, period.
The proposal follows another effort by Democrats in Congress to address corporate landlords' control over the housing market.
We should get the hedge funds out of the housing business.
Senator Merkley's bill would cap ownership at 100 properties and make corporate landlords sell the rest in 10 years. But so far, no legislation has been brought up for a vote. Corporate ownership of single-family homes is hardly the only problem with our housing system. But the way Wall Street has siphoned up neighborhoods that were once a path to building wealth for working people, it's really one of the clearest examples of the fundamental problem.
We value money, not people. That's what this system says. We value money, not people.